of you making that. You know, hopefully it come through and the audio has come through. I've never tried that before. I just want to say thanks, man. Uh, it, that is just too cool that you took the time to edit something up like that for me. I mean, it's just super cool, if that makes sense. Super cool. Okay, guys, we actually have the guitar right here, and I'm gonna punch up my volume a little bit. I'm a little low. So if we go back to Discord, uh, I want to kind of go over some things. And no, I did not have any of this set up. So I am gonna punch up Discord, and we're gonna go to guitar and music equipment. And I want to scroll back to some photos that we took earlier of the guitar. Man, you guys do a lot of talking on Discord, just so you know. All right, I think our first group of photos, I'm scrolling here. I'm just trying to get to the first group of photos. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Discord. So hopefully now you guys can see the photo. So here's the neck of the guitar. And this was before I polished the frets. If you guys watched the live review, this fret right here was way, 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 way off. And there was a bunch of spots down through here. So what I ended up actually doing to this neck is I did a standard level to right here, the 14th fret, and then I just put just a fraction of fall off on it. These frets are very small. When I say they're small frets, they're small frets. So again, here's more pictures of the frets after they were leveled and crowned with my file, and then hit with a 800 grit sandpaper. So this is right before I went over them with 1200, then 2000 before the polishing. And there's the neck. And that's all we have on those. Let's scroll down a little further. And this is the conversation. If you're not on Discord, guys, there's so much going on in between our videos. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'm asking. We do a lot of work here. There's videos, there's live, and there's a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes. And this is the behind the scenes things that the people in the Discord server actually get to see. So here's our next photo. And I was on Discord with Steve today, kind of going over some things. He asked some questions. So this is us taking the pick guard off the guitar. And then this is the first look of the stock electronics. This is kind of where I want to start. This is not your standard cheap printed circuit board switch. Okay. Some like Ibanez use, NK guitars. It's a better quality printed circuit board switch. This one right here is pretty cheap. The board and the traces right here are very small. Something else I've noticed since reassembling the guitar, there is an issue with the tone pot. And when I soldered it together, I noticed they had done a couple different bonding locations. It is working right now, but when I first reassembled the guitar, it was hit and miss. So I believe it's losing ground on these little clips right here. I'm not sure, but the pots on this guitar are very cheap. The exact same thing with the switch. Looking at it, if you take the pick guard off, I don't have a picture of it, but this does not sit parallel to the body. Even though it's threaded down and tight to the pick guard, the square part of the switch is set askewed to the pick guard. So I don't know if the top part's bent or what's going on with it, but the general electronics in the guitar are pretty cheap. We can also see here that they did do a swimming pool route. And this was something that I said in the review video that I thought it did have a swimming pool route. What I find peculiar is this section here is routed deeper, and I'm assuming it's for the screws here, and then they left this part standing proud. I don't know if I have another picture. Oh, right here, I want you to see this. This is the route. Now, this part is not the deeper part of the swimming pool route. For whatever reason, this stops right here. So they came in with the machine and went from here to here, and then from here to here, and they machined into the neck pocket. So you're missing this section of the neck pocket. When I first saw it, I thought, okay, they've cleared that for the truss rod adjustment. They didn't. There's a ton of room under the spoke wheel in the standard route. This did not need to be done. All this does is decrease the amount of surface area in the neck pocket. So I've yet to, if someone has a better idea of why they did that, I am all ears. Here's another picture of the electronics. I mean, it is nicely, it is tidy, okay? It's not sloppy. I'm not saying that it's sloppy. It's just very low-end components in the guitar. And I bring this to everyone's attention. If you're planning on purchasing this guitar, you're going to have to do some electronics work. Even though it may be working out of the box, these are not very good pots, and it's not a very good switch here. And this printed circuit switch is very, very cheap. So let's keep scrolling down. I don't know if we posted any more. And then my second conversation with Steve was he was asking about the tremolo block. So I did disassemble the tremolo block so he could get a good look at the factory block and how it's made. So this spacing is not like the Kahler or the Floyd. I do not have a Fender upgraded block in the shop to double check this spacing here. But I make sure when I take it apart, this is low E to high E. That way I could reassemble it. This tape was put on to tell me where the saddle end was, okay? Now, it's just a guesstimation. You're not going to get it back exactly where it was, but it gets you a starting place, somewhere where you don't have to make a bunch of adjustments. This little nick right here in the top of the plate, that's from the screws. So if you don't have it close and you put string pressure on it, sometimes if you look at your bridge, if it's had a lot of intonation adjustments, you'll see little nicks, where they've slid this thing back and forth with string pressure on it, and it causes little problems with the top. So doing this, you're trying to minimize the damage to the bridge before you intonate it. And there's the block. You can see that it is a quite substantial block. Believe it or not, this thing's quite heavy. So it's actually not too bad, if that makes sense. It looks like a pretty decent bridge. The knife edges here looked okay as well, so I did not touch those. And there's the other view. And there's the view of the guitar. And you can see the two little pockets right there. That's where the route goes in for the spoke wheel. And there's a good 1/4 inch between the spoke wheel and the top surface here. They did not need to go into the neck pocket at all to relieve that. This elevation and the other elevation is congruent. So I don't really know what they were doing right there. Okay, I think that was all of the pictures from Discord. So now I want to kind of go over the things that we didn't talk about on Discord. When you go back and, if you haven't seen the live review we did on this guitar, go back and look at that live review. Feeling the transition here between the rosewood and the back of the neck, there was a huge divot where it went from the neck and you could feel it hump. I have sanded the neck all through here to fix that. It is not 100% perfect. There is still a little bit of an error right here. Okay? And the bottom, there's a little bit of an error right here. The only way to really fix that is I'd really have to chamfer into the neck. That means I would be doing some touch-up stain work because this is a roasted neck. And if you don't sand the material off evenly, the color will change. We also, during the review, I said I could feel the grain. There was a hump in the neck right here where the grain had raised. I went ahead and started with a piece of 800, then went 1200, then 2000, then I think a 3000, the green paper, and then I put tried and true on the back of the neck. So it's glass smooth now. And I sanded up to this point, and I cut around this edge all the way up to this point. So I did not touch the back here. You can see how that's blended. Next thing we did, I did go into the nut. If you watch the review, there was a bunch of plastic sticking out of the nut, and that's where they went in with the file and they didn't clean that up. So I did taper the back of the nut a little bit and angle this cut to match the trees and this first tuning post. So we did that as well. I also did a full level on the frets. Now these are small frets, so I took the bare minimum off these frets. They're also narrow frets. So 2 of my crowning files would not work on these frets. They're that small. But I was able to get them recrowned, and it's a slight radius on the crown. It makes it feel played in. The next issue was the chamfering on these frets. I'm not going to say that they used a chamfering block on these frets because some were at different angles. So I went across all these with a 35-degree chamfering block. Well, first a 90 to get rid of the fret sprout, and then a 35. And only 50% of them cleaned up. The other ones were too far out of spec. The top was a little better. Okay, so I did redress the end of the frets, and I also went over them with 2000 grit sandpaper and then polished all the ends of the frets. So now there is absolutely nothing wrong with the ends of these frets. That doesn't mean that they won't sprout again. I'm not too sure where Steve lives. If he lives in a dry climate, he definitely wants to keep the neck hydrated. I put 2 coats of F1 oil on this neck, and it soaked them right up. When I say it soaked it up quick. So I would probably wait a couple weeks and give it another really good drenching of F1 oil to get this neck hydrated. But right now you can see it's got a really nice color, and that's with 2 passes. And the last thing we did is I changed the cap out for a .22, or maybe it's .022. It had, I believe, a 4.7 in it. I did eventually see a very light marking on the green capacitor that we took out. So they had installed a 4.7, and I put a 2.2 in it to kind of brighten up the guitar. The guitar was very dark sounding. Now this guitar, just like my Yamaha Pacifica, has a little set screw right here, and the tremolo just kind of fits in. And just like my Yamaha Pacifica, if you get the bar to where it doesn't fall out, then it doesn't swing freely. My Yamaha does it. I think it's just the nature of the beast on these type tremolos. You can get it to where it doesn't fall out, but I like my tremolo to fall free, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to mess with it. If Steve wants to tighten it up a little bit so it doesn't fall out quite as easily, he can. I guess at this point, one last thing. And the tremolo is set parallel to the body. It's probably better to see it this way. Now, the body isn't routed out on this guitar, so you're only going to be able to pull it up to where it hits the body. But it is floating. And I do have it set to 440 tune, and it is parallel. So the first thing I want to do, we're going to do some clean sounds. And we're in humbucker mode. And that's with the tone all the way up. Tone all the way down. You can tell it's putting a lot to ground. Now we're going to go to single coil mode. And you can hear it gets thinner. Roll the tone. It sounds so much better with a .22 in it. Let's go to our second position. We're going to go back to humbucker, so it's humbucker single. Let's go single coil, single coil. Let's go to our third position, tones all the way up. Cut our tone back just a little bit. And the magical fourth position. Just roll the tone just a little bit. We cut it back just a little bit more. The tone is pretty much in the sweet spot. I wish it wouldn't go as far as it does, as far as the sweep, because it gets too dark sounding. But you can get it in the sweet spots. To me, right there. Let's go up to our fourth position. We're going to bring the tone all the way up. cut the tone back a little bit. It's in a good spot. Up to our 5th position. That's tone all the way up. Let's cut our tone back. I've been playing a lot, guys. When you're setting up a guitar, I've been playing this thing since about 2 o'clock today. So that's our 5th position. I'm going to roll it back a little bit more. Believe it or not, it's not horrible. I hate to say that. It is usable the way it is. It is. Is the sound for everybody? Maybe not. But compared to what the guitar sounded like before, it is night and day better. Back to our humbucker. And the action is right in between where Steve asked it. It's about 1.65 millimeters E, high E, and it's about 1.5 on the high E. And I have cheated the radius just a fraction in the center, so it's not equivalent. It's going down. The radius that I have here is just a little closer in the center. It's not much. It was originally set up to have a perfect arc at like 10, but I did flatten it out just a little bit. So when you're coming, and that's more of a feel setting. I do start with a true radius, and you can look at the bridge plates now. They're not near what they were in the photos at Discord. It's a nice even radius across. It feels comfortable. And the frets now are also polished, so it is very smooth. So let's go up to our crunch, see what it sounds like on crunch. up a little bit. Let's try our second position. I'm going to take a little bit of the chorus and echo out. It does the crunch well as well. It has a little bit of that, I'm going to say, that clean tone that's in the background. Pretty decent. Let's hit our third position. And you can instantly hear it's a little bitier when you take the two pickups out, because you've got the humbucker and the single. So when you go to that third, it gets a little bitier. And the magical fourth position. Our fifth position. with the 4 ditty, you're supposed to start on the flat. Yeah, I know. All right, let's go to our special channel. And since the headbangers are all here, this is kind of the channel that you guys been wanting to hear because it was extremely muddy before we put the different cap on it. So here's a ditty I always play. All right, now let's get to the ditty. That one's hard to get on this one. And I did work on the nut. It's not a locking tremolo, guys, so don't expect to do crazy dive bombs with it. It's a 9.5 inch radius. So a 7.5 radius guitar is the hardest guitar to set up. 9.5 is the second hardest one to set up. You have more radius in the neck, so when you start bending up, sometimes notes will check off. I tried to get this guitar not to fret out and not to choke off the notes. Compared to how the guitar was, I would say this is a win. Is the guitar completely done? No, I'll speak to Steve before I send the guitar back to him. If he wants me to go in here and replace this tone, I will. I know there's a problem with the tone. It, but it is functioning. But if I go in there and I start playing around with it, the metal piece that's bent over the cap, the little tangs that wrap around, they're not pushed in all the way. So that whole top metal piece kind of floats. Like where the stem goes through and it's bolted, I can literally move the metal cap around on top of the pot. It's loose. And it's just not crimped over. It's just a very poor quality pot. So as you move that thing around, the pot starts doing weird things. Been a long time since I tried that. I used to always wonder, how's that guy doing that? Take his little finger over and I was always like, why are you barring it here? And then I haven't done that in like 20 years. So I'm going to open the chat and I'm going to see how many people think the guitar sounds better. I know you can't play the guitar, but I know you can tell by my facial expressions. This guitar plays, it plays very well now, believe it or not. A setup on a guitar is the world. But if you want to do a good setup, you have to have even frets. And I was going to just touch up the frets. I was. But it does a disservice to Steve. I have the strings off the guitar. It only took me about 3 hours of labor to get these frets right. And it is right. You can slam the action even more, but it's a 9.5 radius. So when you start getting below 1.5 millimeters, it becomes really, really tight, if that makes sense. Now, I'm below 1.5 on my two center strings. Okay, I'm at like 1.4, something like that, millimeters. Like I said, I flattened it out a little bit. Makes it a little easier to get your fingers up to it. But it does not choke out, even though it's a 9.5. You could probably get a little bit more out of it, but you're going to start losing too much sustain, in my opinion. But it's Steve's guitar. When he receives it, if he wants to set it down a little bit more, it's definitely within spec on what he told me on Discord. So I feel that he'll like the action the way it is. It bends easy. The frets feel nice. There's no sharp bends on it. The neck feels nice and smooth now. That you don't have that funny feeling, oh, what is that? You know, when I was playing it the first time, I go to move and it's like, okay, there's something going on back there. I'm not getting that feeling now because I've worked on the back of the neck and polished it out. It's so much smoother. I guess my point in this is I can't well, I shouldn't say I can't recommend the guitar because I didn't get the guitar directly from Amazon. But in the condition that I received the guitar, if you had to pay a tech to fix what was wrong with this guitar, it throws it out of the logical purchase price. You're gonna pay. I think it's on sale now for like $230 something. It's normally like $260 something. If you receive this guitar at $260 and then you have to pay someone to do a fret level on it, go in and change the cap, reset all the intonations, fix the sloppy dressing work from the rosewood to the back of the neck, and get all the missanding out of the back of the neck, it becomes not worth it. There's too many other guitars on the market that you can get that don't have these problems. I'm not going to throw Donner under the bus. I'm not. This is my first one. But if I receive another Donner and it is very similar to this, I'll let you know. We don't. I've reviewed several Leo James, and they all, time after time after time after time again, have the exact same problems. So I'm taking a mental note, and this is a record of it. This is our first Donner. This is what we found. And if you own one of these guitars and you feel that it is dark, okay, this guitar is no longer dark sounding. It really opened up. You heard the clean tones. It has a nice, bright, quacky sound in some. You know, it has that MIDI punch. I put a .22 in it. Maybe it's .022. Cap in it, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's way wrong for a humbucker. For the 99 or 80% of humbuckers, you're probably right. That's probably the wrong cap. But in this particular case, the way this one sounded, okay, the .047 just made this thing sound like it was some medieval dark sounding. You couldn't get any brightness out of it. So could you go to a .033? I think that might be a good cap as well. There's not a tremendous difference between the 3.3 and the 4.7. I mean, there is, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to hear it, audibly be able to really tell the difference. So I put a .22 in it. Excuse me, didn't hit the cough button. And I think it works. If you don't like using the tone knob, I would suggest using a .033. But I think the 2.2 works because you can get some really bright sounding single coil sounds and you can darken them up. That's quite bright. And that's turning the knob about 15 degrees. And that's about 25%. So I think the .022 works really well if you use the tone, because it's allowing you to get some of those bright quacky sounds, and then you can also roll it back and get some of the smoother MIDI tones out of it. And in the fourth position, you can hear that's really smooth. But if we open it up, we can brighten it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm actually quite surprised at how alive sounding this guitar is now. If you guys are hearing something different, then say it. If you don't like it, they're pickups. Everyone has a different feel on what they like. Compared to what this guitar sounded like, honestly, it's usable. It's usable right now. I think unless you wanted to spend extra money, I think if you went in here, put a tone and a volume, a better switch, just replace these electronics with a .022, I think you could get it to sound good with decent. Oh, I also put a pure tone jack in this guitar. I love pure tone jacks. We were having problems with the jack. See, now it actually unplugs. Look at that. Imagine that. And it doesn't jiggle and wiggle. It's a nice solid, pure tone jack's the best jack you can buy. So I did put a jack in it. But you're not looking at spending more than 25, 30 bucks to replace all these electronics and put decent stuff in it. There are good printed circuit switches. Okay, you can get them for like $9. It's a far better switch than this one. Okay, tone and a volume, you can get them all day long for $6. You can get a Barnes pot, CTS pot, $6, $7. That's what I'm saying. $30, you can do this part. You really can. And I think the pickups with this particular cap, I think they're functionable like that. So if you own this guitar and you want to do it on a budget, just replace the cap. But my advice is to definitely replace the tone and volume pot. This switch here, maybe yours is better. This one looks like it's bent from the factory. But I would definitely replace this 5-way switch. The traces on that switch are very thin, and where the wires are soldered in, it's pretty cheap. It may last 2 or 3 years. You might get more out of it. It might break next week, but it's not a very high quality switch. Other than that, I did not replace any of the screws here. We did change the setup. I added a shim in the neck pocket, so now this guitar does have some negative rake angle, and you can see that. I put a .25 in it. So what I ended up doing is it raised this bridge off the body about another 3/32 of an inch. Okay? And that gives us a little bit of, so we can pull up. And it's not a routed body, so you're not going to be doing, pulling way up on the tremolo. But shimming the neck a little bit does give your hand a little bit more room. Right here, remember what I was talking about with the arm carve? With that neck shim, it puts the bridge in your palm of your hand in a more comfortable position. So I'm going to set the guitar down, and I want to kind of see what people are saying. Honey, do we have any comments that that should be spoken out?
No, it doesn't look like it. Most people said that it seems to sound better.
That's what we're looking for. It needs to sound better. I know you guys can't play the guitar, but before I struggled, when I say I struggled to play that instrument. It was a horrible setup on that guitar. The only other thing that I will say about it, if you're having intonation issues with it, this one barely intonated on the low E and A. You may, if you're having problems, you may have to take the screw out of the saddle and cut your spring. Okay? The E, the spring is compressed all the way, and it did intonate. And the A is just right there too. So I didn't have any shorter springs to put in it, but you can go in there with a pair of snips and snip the spring, and that'll give you a little bit more travel, because what ends up happening, the coils of the spring compress and then it can't compress anymore. There's no more room for that spring to compress. It did intonate, but every guitar is a little different, and depending on your tuning, you may have an issue with the low E and the A. My suggestion is either put a shorter spring in or cut the stock one. This one did intonate, and when I say it barely intonated, it barely intonated. I can show you that. Let me turn the amp off here real quick. So if you look at the low E saddle, look at the spring. There is no room to adjust that. It's maxed out. And those are the issues that I found with the guitar, guys. I think we've done a very thorough repair on the guitar. The frets are right now. They feel nice. The guitar plays nice, and I believe it sounds 500% better. So we're gonna try to get the guitar back out to its owner, Steve. And if you don't know this guitar, Steve won this guitar off another YouTube channel, Fret Night, and he just had them send it directly to me to do a review on it. And since it was here, again, I feel I was doing Steve a disservice not to. He was kind enough to let me review the guitar. So I feel that I need to give something back to Steve. So I've done a setup on it, and I've cleaned up the frets. It's a good platform now. If Steve wants to change the pickups, he can. He might get the guitar and go, oh, okay, it's good enough. It's a free guitar. And it may be just his beater guitar. I think it's good enough to be a beater as far as the way it sounds. It actually sounds pretty good now. I keep going back to what it used to sound like. It's a night and day difference on what it sounds like, just changing the cap. And that's what I always tell people. Sometimes if you want a different sound, changing your pickups sometimes isn't the best bang for your buck. Try your cap first, and if that doesn't work, try speakers. I know what you're thinking. Speakers aren't cheap, but neither is a set of high quality pickups. You can buy, if you've got a combo amp with a 112 in it, a nice 112 speaker is still cheaper than a set of Dollars or Seymour Duncans or DiMarzios or Mojo Tones. So you can change cabinets, change the speaker in your cabinet. That's a big change in your sound. And I'm not saying that pickups don't give you sounds. They do. We're just talking about better places to spend your money. Okay? I think speakers and caps. This isn't my first guitar that I've changed caps in. I had another guitar that sounded really dark, and that guitar landed, I believe I ended up putting a .033 in that guitar. And it still sounds a little dark, so after hearing this guitar, I'm probably going to take that one back down to the shop and put a .022 in that one and see if it brightens it up like it did this one. I'm quite happy with how this guitar turned out. This is how the guitar should have came from Amazon, in my opinion. This is how it should have came. Now the frets are probably a little better since I did the polishing and stuff on it. But as far as the fret level, this is how it should have come. Maybe not as polished of a fret as what I've done on this one, but the frets need to be level. You know, it's a guitar. You're not, if that makes sense. That's the main thing on your guitar is it has to have level frets. Okay, you can cheat on the end dressing. It can be a little sharp. Get the frets level.
Did it come with .047?
Yes. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what it come with, because on the back side it says 2A and then .047.
Steve said it did.
So I'm assuming that's a 2 amp, okay, max at .047. That's what I'm assuming. But when I looked at it upstairs, I could not see it. But downstairs, I have really bright LED shop lights, And when I looked at it, I could just barely make that out on the green. So it was 2A.047. So I'm assuming that it was a .047 cap. And like I said, what I put in it's a .022. So I think it works. Anybody else saw the original stream that has a comment, that would be great. Like I said, I want to say thank you to Steve for sending us the guitar. We're going to try to get it out to you this week. Maybe this week's going to be crazy since we were off work today. But I'll try to get it in the mail at least by Thursday or Friday to you. Unless you want me to work on the tone, we can talk on Discord about it. If you want me to do the tone, or if when you get it, you've already got plans on doing other things, then I'll just leave it be. It plays good now, so you're set to go. All right, guys, I know Monday is not our normal service night. We don't normally stream, so hopefully some new people have come into the stream. If you're new here, you do not need to be a subscriber to chat along with everybody else. If you don't see the chat, hit the more button and click chat, and you can see all the wonderful people here communicating and having fun. I want you to join in and have a good time. I want you to go to the main channel, look at some of the other videos that we've posted. We do service videos, we do guitar reviews, and of course live streams. And all the work on this guitar was recorded. So I am going to start this week each night working on editing video, and I'll probably break it into 2 videos so you guys can get an idea of exactly everything that I did to the guitar here in the next week or 2. So I did record everything. So it's not just the pictures on Discord, so that'll be upcoming. And then don't forget we do a live stream on Thursdays and then one on Saturdays. So go to the main page. Hopefully you'll see that we do work hard here, and you're going to hit the subscribe button, hopefully, and hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the little bell, because that'll notify you when we put up videos. We're a small channel, but we do honest reviews here, and there's no BS. There's no clickbait.
They have to change the notification to all.
Yes, you do have to change the notification to all. And I know a lot of people don't like to do that because some YouTubers just blow you up with a video every 10 minutes. I don't do that. We only do 2 lives a week and maximum 1 extra one a week. So it's a maximum 3 videos a week. I don't do this for a full-time job. So I don't depend on YouTube to pay me.
Steve said, Avery, I know you want to plug it into the stack.
I do want to plug it into the half stack, but I don't have it set up, Steve. It was going to take too much time. I've literally been working all day today to get the guitar finished, and I knew if I didn't get it finished today, I wasn't going to get it finished in the timeline that we discussed. So I was off work today, so I worked all the way through the day and got it done. I just didn't have time to set up the stack. There's a lot of cabling to get the half stack up and running. It sounds good through this little Yamaha, so I know it would sound phenomenal through that. And to believe it or not, I think the clean sounds would sound phenomenal on that Egnator. As chirpy and as bright and quacky as some of those settings are, the reverb in that Egnator on the clean channel, it would sound phenomenal clean with that Egnator. I already know that, just with reverb. Now, if you want to thicken it up a little bit, it does have an effects loop, and I'll run that little, I got a little Nu-X Edge, little delay pedal. That amp sounds phenomenal, just with the stock spring reverb and just a little bit of delay from that Nu-X pedal. It sounds awesome. And I see we got Jupe in here. He stopped chopping wood and he was able to come in. And we want to apologize to Jupe right now. DoorDash did not show up at Jupe's house today. I am getting on the phone right now with DoorDash, and I'm going to find out what exactly happened to Jupe's cabbage soup that we sent him. I guess the DoorDash driver had a horrible accident. Either that or he ate it before he got to your house, Jupe. I'm guessing that he ate it all before he got to your house. That's an inside joke. If you're not on Discord, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, I think that was a text message, so everybody's kind of like, what in the world is he talking about? Yeah, Jupe was wanting some cabbage soup that we were cooking. So just an inside track funny. We're all family here, and it's good. When I look in the chat, I know everybody. And I feel that I have a relationship with you guys, and that's what it's about. If you're new, like I said, post. Let's build that relationship, and as a community, and let's just share ideas. That's what it's about. All right, guys, I'm not going to go too long tonight. I think, it's not our normal night. I definitely wanted to show everybody the progress that was done on the Donner. Hopefully, Steve's going to like it, and we're gonna wait for Steve to post on the next video or whenever he receives it, and see if he plans on putting new pickups in it or if he's going to leave it the way it is. All right, guys. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming, especially on a Monday night. This is not our normal night. Please go down and hit the like button if you like this kind of content. If you like us reviewing guitars and then finding out what it takes to take these budget guitars to a nice playable level. And we spent $10 on this guitar, a pure tone jack and a cap. We spent $10 on it. That's a pretty budget friendly fix for a guitar, and it plays great now, and it sounds good. So I think it's $10 well spent, and 8 hours of labor. Well, a little more, about 10 hours of labor. So if you're handy, you might want to consider it. You hear what it sounds like when you change the cap and do a little work to it. Again, thanks, guys. I do not have a Monday night ending soon stream, but I do want to give you the 5-minute ending. If you're new here, we do 5-minute open chat. That's where my part of the stream ends, and you guys can just talk amongst yourselves. And don't forget, go to Discord. Any questions for Thursday night stream, please put in topics for live stream. Go there. Anything that you guys want to talk about, just post it there, and we'll get to it next Thursday night. Again, thanks, guys. And I'm going to use the Thursday night ending soon because I don't have a Monday night window. Maybe I can work on that. Thanks again, guys. You guys are great.